There's something about urban legends that sticks to the skin. You hear them once, around a campfire, at a sleepover, whispered down a darkened hallway, and they never quite leave you. They're the stories we half believe, even when we swear we don't. The ones we dare each other to test, knowing deep down that something might be listening. This week, we're pulling back the curtain on some of the most infamous legends that have haunted us for generations. But these aren't just stories told to scare. Behind each one lies a sliver of truth. A real event, a real person, a real moment in time when the ordinary world cracked open and let something else in. From a killer lurking in lovers' lanes with a hook for a hand to a man in a rabbit suit wielding an axe in the woods of Virginia. From ghostly girls who vanish from car seats to the blood-soaked face you might just see staring back from your mirror. These tales didn't come from nowhere, and tonight, we're digging up the roots. So sit back, settle in, and remember, every legend starts with someone, somewhere, who swears it really happened. We'll see you on the inside. You are now entering the realm of the freaky deaky, an unsuspecting stop at the crossroads of fantasy and reality, where the frayed edges of make-believe seep into this cookie-cutter white picket world you've been led to believe is far from extraordinary. What you're about to hear are true stories.
Alleged true stories.
Christian, just... okay? Tales of the strange and inexplicable thought only to exist in film and folklore. Although difficult to accept, we do not know everything about this reality, about time or space, what lies beneath the ocean's depths. And try though we might, the unchanging truth remains. There are some things we legitimately cannot explain logically. Folks, welcome back to the Freaky Deaky. We're switching things up a little bit this week, and we're diving into some, what I've titled, From Fact to Fear. And these are true stories and the tales between, let me just get the tagline that I wrote before I try to guess it. The true stories behind urban legends. Wow, wasn't even close. It's fine. So we're looking into 4 pretty well-known urban legends today, and we're tackling these stories that inspired them. So before we dive into the first story, which is the Hook Man, we're going to go ahead and share some information that you probably are really just not wanting to hear at all. And that is that you can find us on social media at Freaky Deaky Pod. Wherever you are at, we are also at that. You can subscribe on YouTube, comment below your thoughts, send in your own stories to the gang at thefreakydeaky.com. Join the Facebook group if you want to talk to us personally. Christian is going to be commenting a little bit more on YouTube. I'm stepping back from a lot of the commenting. But if you want to talk to me, you want to dish the juicy hot goss to your boy, you can find me in the Facebook group. Just post or tag me in it, and I'll try to find it. Sometimes Facebook notifications are annoying as hell, and there's nothing you can do about it. Trust me, I've tried. So if I don't respond, then just tag me again, I guess. I don't know.
I don't have a problem with my Facebook notifications.
Really?
I turned them off.
Well, I mean, yeah, I turned most of mine off. So that's the thing, is sometimes I won't get notified, but I'll hit the little bell, and there'll be like 15 things, and from like 6 different days.
I've had that happen.
And I'm like, okay.
Okay, now I know what you're saying.
I'm like, hey, guess what? Don't want to see anything now. Yeah, it turned me off to it entirely. Thanks, Facebook. Way to go, Zuck. You happy?
You are very grouchy sometimes. Just let it go. Kumbaya.
Nah, it only works if you're aggressive.
Hakuna Matata.
Wow. Christian, not everything has to be
Means
referenced.
don't worry.
Oh, I'm aware of what it means. I've also seen The Lion King, okay? What I'm saying is that not everything has to be referenced with a Disney film of some sort.
I just wasn't sure because you're kind of white. I didn't know if you understood African languages.
Kind of white. Christian, I need to remind you that when they listen to this show, a lot of people think I'm black, all right? And a lot of people think you're an old white man. So it's really strange that they got us mixed up.
I'm not old.
Wow, that's what you clung on to. It's fine. Guys, honestly, didn't want to get derailed this early, but it's cool, It's
strawberry.
Anyway, so getting us back on track. Yeah, so this week we're kind of touching on some urban legends. That's fun. That's cool. And hey, guess what? This time I actually get to agree with Christian on things instead of being like, I believe this.
Have you ever had any of your friends try to convince you at some point in your life that some of these urban legends were true until you grew up?
Not these ones, but I can tell you Balsitis Park, yes, it does sound like a testicle disease, in California City, there was a really strange urban legend attached to that baseball field, man. I'll tell you what, it was something about a guy with I can't remember, I'm going to butcher it, but I know it was like a weird axe murdering dude with like a chainsaw or some shit would come out at night and just stand on the pitching mountain. You're like, well, that doesn't sound real. But as a kid, you're like, I don't want to test it though. I don't know. Do I come out here at 9 p.m. in California City and get axe murdered by this dude at Balsitis? I'm not really sure I'm ready for that.
I feel like I had some older kids try to convince me of the hand hook for a hand one.
The hook man?
Yeah, when I was young.
Yeah. I think I don't even think I heard that one when I was young. I think I heard that first from probably Supernatural when I was like 15.
Yeah, I've heard that story from a couple different people through my life.
Yeah.
But back then I didn't know any better. So I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's like the Zodiac, but with a hook for a hand.
Oh, creepier somehow. Yeah. So before we even get into this, guys, wherever you're listening from, comment the urban legend that got you. All right.
It's
the one that stuck with you from childhood to now.
And those of you that aren't in the U.S., you know who you are. Let's tell us some of your urban legends.
Locations.
One of them's got to be Bigfoot.
Okay.
For our Canadian listeners, it's an urban legend. Forest legend. Close enough.
When you keep saying legend like that, it implies that it doesn't actually exist. Okay.
Have you seen one? Do you know of anybody that's brought back actual evidence other than footprints and bear hair?
Footprints and bear hair.
Have you seen the Patterson Gimlin fake bear suit or Bigfoot suit?
Christian, you're going to be pissing a lot of people off. Pissing a lot of people off so early in the episode. I don't know if they're ready for it. All
I'll
right?
shut up for a little bit.
Footprints and bear hair sounds like a skeptic's guide on what not to believe.
I was trying to be kind of funny, but then I was like, ooh, this sounds really right down my alley. But I was just joking at first, but also kind of serious.
The wet blanket's guide to wetting your blanket.
Use warm water.
Wow, that'll do it.
Sometimes urine.
Sometimes urine?
If it's a...
Or urine.
I wanted to say it with a different accent.
Okay, I was just making sure we're talking about the same thing. And that's pee-pee, of course. So anyways, now that we got all the good bits out, did I tell you guys that you can find us online? Did you guys know? Have you heard about this thing called the internet? We're actually there.
We will not have our pee-pees out, though.
Wow. He's not on the main page. That's an OnlyFans bit, if you're ready for that, which I don't think anyone is. And that's fine. You guys don't have to wonder or want or desire that at all.
You can find our OnlyFans at Only Freaky Deaky.
Only Deeks. And everyone else would go with Only Freaks, but
yeah, that's what I would have gone with.
Not your boy. It's got to be more unique.
Did you know the Freaks come out at night?
I knew the Deeks came out at night. The Butterscotch. The Butterscotch gang comes out at night. That's a t-shirt. No one's going to understand. They're going to be like, what the fuck does that mean, dude? Why are you always wearing that? With a smile on your face and a wink and glint in your eye. Folks, what I was trying to say with the website bit was that you can find merch there at thefreakydeaky.com. If you want to support the show, you can donate, become a producer, get a shout out at holler.baby/thefreakydeaky as well. So many ways to support your favorite show, even if you can't do it monetarily, which we do appreciate. We also understand in this economy. Are you kidding me? You can't be donating to spooky ghost podcasts. Can't do that. Just feel free to share it with your friends and family on social medias, wherever you're at. Do you want your friends and family to know you're an absolute weirdo? Well, now's your chance, all right? Anywho, let's get into this first story. Now that we're 10 minutes into the episode. It's called The Hook Man. And the Hook Man legend is one of America's oldest and most widespread urban legends. If you grew up anywhere in the U.S., chances are you've heard some version of it. Hilariously enough, I did not, unless I just forgot it because it was so terrifying.
I feel like by the time you were old enough to understand things, you actually had real scary things like terrorist and crap like that to worry about.
And math homework.
And the housing crisis or the subprime lending, whatever the hell that was.
The failing of the U.S. dollar. Yeah, there's a lot going on, Christian. It's fine. But at least we got ghost stories,
We don't have to make up shit anymore.
I think we still do.
It's called a ghost story.
Oh. The story usually begins with a teenage couple parked in a secluded lover's lane. Interestingly enough, I was actually working on an episode about wild things that happen in lovers' lanes. And I'm not just talking about STDs and unwanted pregnancies.
Or the Zodiac again.
That is one of them, sure.
Yep.
Enjoying a private moment until a radio broadcast interrupts the peace. A killer has escaped from a nearby institution, the announcer says. He's missing a hand replaced by a steel hook. The couple panics. The boy wants to stay, but the girl insists they leave. When they arrive home, they discover a hook dangling from the car door handle. But this isn't just a cautionary tale cooked up by anxious parents. The roots of the Hookman go deeper and much darker. One possible origin is the infamous Texarkana Moonlight murders of 1946. Over a span of 10 weeks, a masked assailant attacked 8 people in or around their parked cars in Texarkana, Texas. 5 of the victims died. The attacks always occurred late at night, and though the perpetrator was never caught, he was dubbed the Phantom Killer by the media. Fear gripped the town. People stopped going out after dark, and local authorities issued curfews. Teenagers avoided lovers' lanes altogether. The uncertainty of the killer's identity, combined with the graphic nature of the crimes, created the perfect breeding ground for the myth. The most widely accepted connection between the Texarkana murders and the Hookman legend is the use of couples as targets and the isolated locations of the attacks. Survivor accounts from the time recall how the killer used a flashlight to blind and disorient his victims before striking. One survivor, a woman named Mary Jean, was tied to a tree and left with severe injuries. Her boyfriend was found hours later, beaten to death nearby. Their story, shared widely in newspapers and on the radio, laid the groundwork for a fear-based folklore that evolved with each retelling. Over the years, the tale has shifted. In some versions, the couple ignores the warning and is murdered. In others, the girl sees a shadowy figure lurking in the woods. The story was first formally documented in 1959 by folklorists Richard Beardsley and Rosalie Hankey, who collected over 100 variations of the legend. What remained constant in every version was the hook, the couple, and the warning. I remember one was the hook being dragged on the top of the car, if I remember correctly.
I think that was a movie.
That must have spun off of one of the actual...
Maybe one of those stories documented.
I could have sworn, I know, because I think that's what also Supernatural did with it, was the sound of the hook being dragged.
Yeah, I've seen that before in film, but I don't remember when.
There's one movie that keeps playing in my head, a specific scene in like a drive-up movie where a killer is there and everyone's like panicking, but I can't remember what the movie, there's zero other context in my head for what the movie was. And so I need people to shout out potential ideas, because whenever you do that and you're like, I can't remember this, someone tell me, people will tell you. You know?
Yeah, but I give a little bit more detail than what you just gave.
I just gave you the bare bones. This is all I remember. Drive-in, movie theater, killer, panic. That's it.
And I am going to go watch that Mark Twain claymation thing now that has been given to me by one of our listeners.
I have to go see it now, too.
Don't let Atlas see it. It's got some scary parts in it.
Yeah, the entire thing sounds like a scary part.
It kind of is.
Anyway, psychologists have long speculated that the Hookman legend served a dual purpose: to scare teens into abstinence and to create a socially acceptable narrative to discourage risky behavior.
It's like the modern lake or river monster.
There you go. But for many, the real terror isn't the metaphor. It's the possibility that somewhere out there, a real killer inspired this story. And the legend hasn't gone away. As recently as the 1990s, police in parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey received reports of a hook-handed man seen near parked vehicles at night. While no credible evidence ever surfaced, the pattern echoed the old fears, breathing new life into the legend. Some modern retellings have even incorporated dash cam footage or 911 call audio, merging old lore with new technology. Is the Hookman simply a morality tale born from tragedy? Or was he real once, and possibly still lurking in the shadows? What do you think it is about the Hookman that makes it so timeless? Do you think it's the fear of being alone and vulnerable? Or could it be something deeper, like the idea that trauma always leaves something behind, even if it's just a rusted hook on a car door? Let's get deep with it, Christian. What do you think?
Okay. I'm going to go back to maybe the origins of this legend. I'm not an expert. I am not an expert. That's true. I think if you were disabled back then, you were scary to people more than you are now.
Wow.
So then you take the lover's lane and add that in there. It's like a perfect way to scare the shit out of people. Like I said, the modern version of parents, river or lake monster back in the day to protect their children. This time it's like you have to go a little bit darker to get through to the teenage mind and to actually have an effect on it. So you have to go really creepy and dark.
So you're saying, okay, hey guys, this disabled guy's coming for you in the woods.
No, I think that's just, they use that character in that story kind of as a trope based on how people looked at things back then. Because that's one of the things when you go back in time and read something, whether it's 50 years ago or 5,000 years ago, you have to kind of think of it from the perspective of the people that produced it.
Yeah.
Because we can sit here all day long and talk about ancient writing and
we will.
and act like we understand it. And we may understand it from our perspective, but it's a lot harder for us to go back in time and see what the world was like then. So maybe it's something similar to that. Maybe it's just the way we view it. I would find it fascinating that the person that found the first recorded telling of that from the 50s mentioned that how it changes or has changed over time, or things have been added. And that's basically what you find in a lot of old legends, ancient legends that we talk about that are in various books, written throughout time, including, the reference of Troy. Like, first it was written like it truthfully happened, or it really did happen.
Yeah.
Then for many years, it was believed to be a metaphor, until someone found Troy.
I'm more a fan of the fall of Troy myself, but it's fine.
And then, since that story's been told countless times, now there's a giant horse involved that a bunch of soldiers supposedly hid in, which probably did not happen. But
who's to say? We weren't there, Christian. Well, you might have been. I certainly was not.
I'm thinking the horse thing is about as plausible as the Hook Man.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think Trojan horse existed?
No, not in that way. Maybe it meant something completely different to the people of Troy.
Hold on. I have to look up the fall of Troy real quick, just so I can get it in my Spotify, so next time I'm in the car I can listen.
To the book?
The Fall of Troy? No, it's a band.
Oh, okay.
It's a great band. You'd actually probably like them too.
I thought you were going to be talking about the music from the movie Troy, which was actually, the cinematic music was really good.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Christian.
Not sure I would have cast, what's his name in it?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Why? What you got against the Pitt?
I think he's fine with modern characters, but I think it's similar.
You think he's too sexy for the old school?
No, he just, like Colin Farrell playing Alexander the Great. It just didn't work for me.
It was a weird choice.
Yeah. And Colin Farrell's a great actor.
Sure.
I love that movie, but it could have been so much better. Could have been like Gladiator.
You are correct. Yeah, it turns out you just need a beard. Russell Crowe, and then what's the other guy? Dude, Leonidas? No. What was the...
He had a beard.
Yeah. What was his name?
Leonidas?
No, that actor. Gerard Butler, yeah. Yep, beards. Solved it. You're welcome. Let's get in this next one. And actually, for the most part, all of these, except for, well, I guess, never mind. I take that back. Scott, stop talking. Get into the story. It's called The Bunny Man. Have you heard of this one?
I'm going to wait. It feels familiar, but I'm going to wait till you tell the story to see if I remember it or not.
I have absolutely never heard of this one. That's why I added it in there. I'm like, The Bunny Man? What the hell? I might have been a little sheltered as a kid growing up. It's fine.
Have you heard of Echo and the Bunnymen?
Is it a band?
Yeah.
They're my favorite band. No, I'm just kidding. No, what you need to listen to is Horse the Band, the song Bunnies. That's what you need to listen to.
That doesn't sound good.
It is interesting. It is interesting. And I know a lot of people are thinking Band of Horses or whatever that band is. No, I'm saying Horse the Band. The song is Bunnies. Go ahead, check it out. Shout out to me when I was 15. It's rough, but I did get to see them live in Lancaster when they rolled through, and that was an interesting show. That was a very interesting show. They have the strangest songs of all time, and it's very intense.
Is it like any of them like Peaches, President of the United States of America?
It's probably a lot harder than that, actually.
Okay.
It gets pretty intense. Anyway, it sounds too bizarre to be real. A man in a bunny costume wielding an axe terrorizing people in the woods outside Washington, D.C. But this isn't a twisted campfire tale or something ripped from a horror movie. This is the story of the Bunny Man.
I just want to set the stage a little bit. I'm sorry. I feel like in my mind, this Bunny Man, especially now that you said it's Washington, D.C., I'm getting images of like old school Bunnymen outfits, not like the modern stuff.
The creepy one?
Yeah.
Kids were crying on Easter?
Yeah, exactly.
Mama, why am I taking a picture with this monster? Yeah, this is the story of the Bunny Man, one of Virginia's most enduring urban legends. And believe it or not, it's rooted in police reports, newspaper articles, and eyewitness testimonies. The legend centers around Fairfax County, Virginia, specifically a now infamous location known as Bunny Man Bridge, officially called the Colchester Overpass. The story usually involves teenagers parking near the bridge, only to be chased away by a man in a white rabbit costume, often throwing a hatchet or wielding an axe. Some versions claim he warns them to stay away from his property. Others say he's protecting something buried beneath the bridge. Either way, the Bunny Man doesn't want company. But unlike many urban legends, this one has a definite starting point. The earliest known sighting occurred on October 19th, 1970. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancée were parked in a driveway near Guinea Road when a man dressed in a white bunny costume approached the car, shouted something about trespassing, and hurled a hatchet through the car window. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Turns out when you don't have opposable thumbs, you're not really great at throwing hatchets.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Bunny Man's real. It's not a real bunny, Scott.
Oh.
He probably has thumbs.
Oh, it's a man. Bunny man. Yep, it's right there. Should have seen it coming. It's there all along. Bennett described his figure as wearing something white on his head, possibly ears.
You know,
I would hope so.
It's the South, so it could have been a totally different.
Wow. He's only got one ear, and it's really pointy. Anyway, something white on his head. He did say white on his head, didn't say bunny ears for sure. It says possibly ears, and claimed the man was around 20 years old. Police found the hatchet at the scene and took the report seriously. Just 10 days later, another sighting was reported, this time by a construction security guard named Paul Phillips. While patrolling a new development near Kings Park West, he saw a man in a full bunny suit chopping at the porch post of a newly built home with a hatchet. When confronted, the man allegedly said, "All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out of here, I'm going to bust you on the head." What do you mean, you people? First of all, no, it's fine. Phillips also noted the man looked to be in his early 20s and seemed mentally unstable. What was your first clue? You know? Again, the police investigated, and again, they found no trace of the assailant. Fairfax County police received dozens of calls after those reports, many of them copycats or teens playing pranks. Still, the original incidents were never solved. There was no arrest, no name given, and no explanation. The newspapers ran with the story, dubbing the mystery assailant the Bunny Man. Well, that strikes fear into your hearts. I don't know
I'm
what
scared.
will. Yeah. And a legend was born.
Does he kill you by shoving hard-boiled eggs down your throat?
Or by just attacking you with tiny little poopies?
I don't know. Have you ever held a rabbit
Yes.
when it's angry or scared?
No.
They're pretty strong for that little size.
Oh, yeah.
They kick the shit out of you.
Yeah, they got some kick to them, for sure. I'll give you that.
I saw a rabbit jump at least 20 feet straight up in the air one time.
I feel like that is exaggerating. 20
No.
feet is pretty high.
Yeah,
20 feet is like twice of this room. You realize that?
maybe it was like 10 to 15.
Okay.
It was like extraordinarily high.
That sounds pretty high.
And then he hit the ground.
Are you sure you weren't extraordinarily high when this was?
No, I was hunting,
Okay.
and that was just before that rabbit died.
Oh, isn't that a wholesome story? Thanks. Way to go, everyone. Anyway, over time, the Bunny Man evolved from a strange man in a costume to something far more sinister. In later versions, he's an escaped mental patient from an asylum that closed down decades ago.
Where have I heard that before? I feel like
Pretty
I've
much
heard
every
that.
other urban legend. Yeah.
You know what?
Hmm.
Going back to the Zodiac, maybe they should have been checking the mental institution to see who recently escaped. Because that whole kind of fits. At least the one.
They really do be like that.
Lake Berryessa, I think it is. I could be wrong. Anyway,
That's
moving
fine.
along.
Supposedly, after the transfer bus crashed near the bridge, the inmates fled into the woods, but only one was never found.
So convenient.
Locals claim he lived off the land, left skinned rabbits hanging from trees, and turned violent when people trespassed near his territory. This version, while compelling, is almost certainly fabricated. There's no record of any asylum in that area nor any prisoner bus crash, but still, it adds a layer of menace that's hard to shake. What is real, however, are the dozens of people who have come forward over the years claiming to have seen the Bunny Man. Some say he chased them from the bridge with a hatchet. Others report seeing a figure standing in the woods, unmoving and watching. In 1980s, Fairfax teenager recounted an encounter where he and his friends were pelted with small rocks while parked near the bridge. They caught a glimpse of someone or something in white darting into the woods. There have been paranormal associations made. Some ghost hunters believe Bunny Man Bridge is cursed. Strange electromagnetic readings, cold spots, and disembodied whispers have all been reported in the area. Whether the original Bunny Man was human or something more spectral is still debated in certain circles. They must just be bored. Today, Bunny Man Bridge has become a Halloween pilgrimage. Each October, dozens of teens flock to the overpass, hoping to catch a glimpse of the infamous figure. Police have to patrol the area to prevent trespassing. But many who go seeking the Bunny Man leave with more than just a thrill. They leave with a story. So was it just a man with a grudge and a warped sense of humor? a mentally unstable drifter, or something that's been haunting those woods long before any hatchet was ever thrown. How much does the bizarre factor play into this one? Do you think the legend stuck around because of how weird the costume is, or is there something more primal about being stalked in the woods by something you can't quite explain?
I would never say something is more primal if you're getting stalked by a fucking rabbit.
Clearly, you've never been stalked by a fucking rabbit, Christian. No.
I have not. For that escaped mental patient thing to work,
yeah,
he would have had to have been somebody that studied rabbits that went homicidally crazy. So he just, when he escaped,
like he's king of the rabbits?
No, he studied them like a scientist.
Just out in the woods? He escapes a mental asylum and then just grabs a notebook.
And that was his job. Then he killed his whole family because he snapped, got put in the mental institution, escaped, and went back to his roots and wore a rabbit costume with an axe. He was a logomorphologist before he went crazy.
Oh my goodness. Could this man's penis get any smaller? Like, do you hear that?
I do, but I just...
Oh my God, dude. Oh, I want to yell at these people so much.
It won't help, man.
It helps me.
No, it doesn't.
I feel so much better. There's zero reason to just be revving your engine outside at 9 p.m.
Maybe he's fixing his car.
No, he's not. He's not. You know why? You know how I know? Because he's revving his engine and it works fine. You know?
I think you're spending too much.
Do that at 8 a.m.
Let's go back to the crazy rabbit.
Do that after lunch. You know what I mean?
Let's go back to the crazy rabbits. Get focused.
I am the crazy rabbit now. I've been taken over by the bunny man.
You silly rabbit. I won't finish the rest because that's probably trademarked.
Because it's for kids.
Copyrighted.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I've never heard of the bunny man. Weird. I've heard of the goat man, which is I feel like it's similar lore.
It just sounds like some crazy old guy in 1970s that was still rocking a onesie rabbit pajama set.
Yeah, that's the only thing that doesn't make sense. Why?
Like nowadays you could just buy your pajamas like that. Then he probably had to have his mom make it.
Mm-hmm. And we have bought pajamas like that.
I have not.
I have bought so many strange onesies over the course of my adult life just for the laugh.
I haven't had a onesie since I was just a couple years older than Atlas.
Well, you are missing out. It's very comfortable, turns out.
It's not all about comfort, man.
What, are you trying to look macho in your pajamas?
No, man. Life is not about comfort. Comfort is for
That's
death.
Some, like stoicism shit, you know?
That's
some stoic. And you know that ain't me.
I do read Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, I can't hear that name without thinking of my old roommate because that's what his name was Marcus, and he always used the tag Marcus Aurelius. And I'm like,
that is awesome.
Well, bro, trust me, if you knew the guy, it was not awesome. All right.
No, I
promise you.
You have to carry yourself like Marcus Aurelius if you're going to use that name. Now, Marcus Aurelius, for those of you guys that know, is famous for his little diary that's out there, and he was a great ruler back in the day. But like anybody back in the day, he wasn't a perfect guy, no matter how perfect he seemed in Gladiator. That's what he was in. We just mentioned that earlier. Okay. What's the next one?
I was going to ask something about Marcus Aurelius that tied in with my roommate, but it was very grotesque, and so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, please don't. You know me and grotesque.
It's just one of the joys of sharing a house with it's fine. It's fine, guys. We'll get into that later.
I've been lucky. I've always had good roommates.
Yeah, I've had good roommates too, but not very cordial roommates or just really raucous roommates.
Well, you were young.
With their lifestyle choices. This one wasn't.
No, you were. You tend to have weird raucous. You put 25. Up with raucous more from like up to 25. I mean.
Oh, well, how convenient because I was 25. Yeah. Interesting.
But that's about the age where you're like, I'm tired of these assholes making all this noise. I want to sleep.
Yeah, these assholes never been more correct, Christian. There was 2 assholes and there was plenty of noise.
And sometimes it's not about getting sleep. Sometimes they keep drinking all my beer.
No, that wasn't what it was about. It was all the loud gay sex I had to hear. Okay, that's what was it.
Doesn't matter what kind. If it's somebody else's sex, you don't want to hear it.
That's true. What am I, some kind of pervert? That's fine. It's fine, guys. Just another chapter in the old book of Who is Scott, really. Anyway, this next one is The Vanishing Hitchhiker, a.k.a. Resurrection Mary. The road is Archer Avenue, a stretch of highway outside Chicago with a reputation steeped in the strange. And the ghost? She's known as Resurrection Mary, one of the most famous vanishing hitchhiker stories in the world. This isn't just a single encounter that's been passed down and warped through generations. It's dozens of sightings by people from all walks of life, all pointing to the same thing. A young woman who appears on the side of the road only to disappear before she ever reaches her destination. This one you're familiar with, yeah? It's like Lady in White type stuff.
Yep.
At least that's what I always referred to it as. I had never heard of Resurrection Mary, but
That's kind of a cooler name.
it is kind of a cooler name. Anyway, the legend traces back to the early 1930s, and while her story has become a local staple in the Chicago area, the strange thing is that no one can definitively say who Mary was in life. One popular theory links her to a young woman named Mary Bregovi, who died in a car accident in 1934. Another ties her to a girl who was killed while walking home from a dance near Archer Avenue, possibly struck by a car. Though the details vary, the consistent theme is always the same. Mary is a young woman dressed in a white party dress with blonde hair and a sad expression. The first documented sighting of Resurrection Mary came in the late 1930s, and it set the tone for every account that would follow. A man named Jerry Pallas claimed he met a young woman at a local ballroom. The O. Henry Ballroom, to be exact. Wow, O. Henry was that big that they had a ballroom?
I think you're...
Isn't that a candy?
Yeah, but I think it was just some guy named O. Henry. With that
Some man named O. Henry? Is that a name?
Yeah.
O. Henry.
Yeah.
No, not O apostrophe Henry. O-H space Henry. Oh.
It was probably
Henry.
it was probably apostrophe, but one of the uneducated O. Henrys didn't realize you needed apostrophe, because when I see some of those names, obviously they're misspelled.
Made it up. You made it up.
As somebody who's had multiple jobs where I had to look at a lot of names, I did not make that shit up.
Nobody cares.
It's fine. I always feel like such an asshole whenever I hit that one, but it's like my favorite one to hit, you know? You get it. The people get it.
Do you think the original Walker
Was known for walking? Yes.
from your name was spelled Walker? I don't think it was.
What do you think is spelled Q, the number 4, LK?
No, I'd have to see the country of origin of the person that started the Walker side of your family.
Okay.
It's probably like Volker. You're probably from Germany or something back in the day.
Christian, your obsession with Germany doesn't have to spill out into every single thing.
Or if it was Scandinavian, it would be the same thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know how I got on this subject. Let's get back to Resurrection Mary.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because she sounds hot.
Okay. That's probably why most of the people stopped to pick her up.
That's
Christian.
what when you were starting to read it and I was like thinking about these hitchhiker things, I'm like, almost everyone I've ever heard is from a man. The story, when they tell the story, like I'm sure I've heard a couple of women tell stories, but most of the time it's a man. Now, of course, back in this time period, women probably didn't drive much.
That's true. And as we know, they're not very chivalrous. So
yeah,
there's that. And it's hard to pick up a hitchhiker when you're in the kitchen making dinner. You know what I mean? But
well, I mean, 1930s America, when it came to women, was a lot like modern day Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, you could just hit them right on the open. What'd you say to me, bitch? You know, it was a different time. Christian, I see you smiling over there, reminiscent of it, but that's not the show for that, okay?
Nostalgia, man.
I know. It comes for all of us.
It's always wrong.
It's always the best. Anyway.
That's why it's wrong.
Oh, of course. Christian, how dare you make jokes about hitting women?
How dare I?
Not on this podcast. Not in this America, okay? She gave him directions. Just hop right back into the story. Like we were talking about domestic violence 2 seconds before. It's fine. They danced. They talked. And he even offered her a ride home. Yeah, taking me back to the O. Henry. That went from O. Henry, the candy, to the name, to Scandinavia, to Germany, to domestic violence, and we're back.
We apologize. We should have put that at the end of the episode.
No, yeah, that's what people want to hear. Oh, I can't wait to hear about them hitting women.
That was not what we were talking about. That was just what it sounded like.
A joke for... Guys, if we explain the jokes, they're not funny.
Right.
Someone's typing around. Well, it's not... Hitting women isn't... Eat it. All right?
We apologize we did not give a trigger warning before our joke.
I don't. Christian apologizes. You can suck one. She gave him directions that led to Resurrection Cemetery. This story
that's how she got her name.
That does check out. This story is going to be so jumbled with every sentence read.
I'm sorry.
Met with like a weird tangent for 30 seconds, then back to they're going to be like, what happened to Mary?
She was resurrected. It's in the name.
It's literally right there, guys. We have to spell it out.
Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah, when he turned to say goodbye, she was gone. He later went to the cemetery and confirmed the name Mary on a headstone. Ah, yes, it must be her.
It's the 1930s.
Yeah.
There's only 50 Marys out
That's
of
true.
these 60 women headstones.
That's very true. Since then, the pattern has repeated itself with eerie consistency. Drivers, most often men, report picking up a quiet young woman on the side of the road near the cemetery.
That's what Ted Bundy used to do.
Hell yeah. She asks for a ride, sometimes saying she's headed home. She gives directions that always seem to end at the cemetery gates. That's a short ride. Now, if you pick up a woman at the cemetery and she's like, I'm just heading home. It's 8 feet to the north.
I'm sorry, I got a totally different thought when you said cemetery gates. I was thinking of a song by Pantera.
Wow.
Sorry.
I never listened to Pantera, so there's that, but it's fine. And just before they arrive, or in some cases right in front of them, she vanishes.
Of course.
In 1973, a cab driver came forward with a particularly chilling version. He picked up a girl outside a shopping mall. She was quiet, dressed in white, and wanted to go to the cemetery. Halfway there, he said she simply disappeared from the back seat. Another man, around the same time, claimed to have seen a girl matching Mary's description walk directly through the locked gates of Resurrection Cemetery. The last claim sparked enough interest that someone decided to check the gate itself, and what they found was startling.
It was locked.
Yeah. 2 bars of the cemetery's iron gates were bent apart,
Then it wasn't a ghost.
and embedded in the metal were what looked like handprints. The impression showed the distinct shape of small fingers, as if someone or something had grabbed the bars and scorched their form into the gate. The cemetery eventually removed and replaced those bars, but photographs still exist, and the incident remains a focal point for believers. The story of Resurrection Mary has inspired books, documentaries, and countless newspaper articles. What makes her legend especially compelling is how grounded it is. These aren't secondhand tales passed around campfires. Many of the sightings have come from police officers, cab drivers, and respected locals. In 1980, a local radio DJ reported that a man called into a station in a panic, saying he just saw a girl in a white dress run into the street and then vanish in front of his headlights. I had something similar to that happen. For folklorists, Mary's tale is a textbook example of a vanishing hitchhiker story, a type of legend that appears in multiple cultures around the world.
And multiple episodes.
But the Resurrection Mary case stands out because of its geographical focus, historical consistency, and the sheer number of credible witnesses. Skeptics argue that the sightings are the result of suggestion. Archer Avenue is known for its eerie reputation, especially near the old ballroom and the cemetery. They say people driving alone at night are more prone to seeing what they expect or fear to see. There's also the possibility of a false memory, or even pranksters dressed in white trying to stir up and then the pranksters that get into your car dressed in white
I think
and then disappear.
I think the prankster part is more just the people when you see a lady in white on the side of the road or
Just
running.
walking, yeah.
Yeah, when the getting into your car.
I'm like, what are you, Houdini at this point? Like, oh, this will show them.
Yeah.
Still, those who've had the experience aren't so quick to dismiss it. Many claim they had no idea about the legend until after their encounter, and they all describe the same woman, pale, pretty, dressed like she just stepped out of a 1930s dance hall. Hell yeah. Now that's a good look.
No.
You don't think 1930s dance hall dress attire is like, for a woman, that's a good look.
No.
That's a good time.
If you want me to go to like old school dress attire
There we
or
go. If you
dance
say
attire
70s,
that was
I'm going to lose it.
it's going to be the 20s.
How is the 20s that much different than the 30s?
Because the Roaring 20s was lit. The
Wow.
30s was the Depression, not lit.
Okay, but can we picture early 30s as pretty much the 20s before Depression? You know?
By the tone you used, I was not picturing early 30s. I was picturing late 30s, deep in the Depression, gray.
When they mentioned how pretty she was. And
She can still be pretty and wear crappy clothes.
You can't be from the Depression and be pretty. It's impossible. It's frowned upon.
Okay, well, I'll be honest here. The reason I like the 20s over the 30s is
Your
the
birth
higher, I don't know what you call it in fashion, hemline of the skirts.
Mm,
I'm a man.
you're a man, Christian.
And they were better dancers in the 20s. The Roaring 20s looked fun, like the 80s.
Well, we are currently in the Roaring 20s again.
Nah, you know what I mean. That is weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that is really weird. It's
People are like 80 years from now, people are going to look back at us and be like, oh, that was the time to be alive, wasn't it, sport?
roaring in a different way. There ain't no flappers running around.
Flappers. A great term of endearment. Anyway, Whether it's a spirit caught in a loop, a residual haunting, or something else entirely, Resurrection Mary continues to be spotted to this day. And if you find yourself driving down Archer Avenue late at night, don't be surprised if you see her standing at the roadside, her thumb out, waiting for a ride that never quite gets her home. Why do you think stories like Resurrection Mary endure for so long? Is it the tragedy, the repetition, or maybe something deeper, like the idea that a soul might still be trying to find its way?
I have a different reason why it might resonate for this long.
Folia do?
No.
Folia 50?
Because I feel like this is something we feel could happen to us on a dark night on a lonely road. Whether it can or not, you know.
I think this story is probably the only reason I don't pick up hitchhikers. That and murderers, you know?
Oh, no, it was the murderers for me. I grew up in the height of the serial murder days in the 70s.
So you know better is what you're saying.
I would like to think so. There's been a couple times, especially in Alaska, and I'm like, my mom would come down from wherever she's at, have a talk with me.
If you picked someone up?
But then we'd have material for the pod because she'd be a ghost.
Well, I would, but...
No, she would just lecture me like parents do. And it's been a long time since I had to listen to a parents' lectures. I'm not into it.
It's been a long time. Doesn't quite work the same. It's fine. No, I've seen a couple hitchhikers where I thought about it, and then I immediately unthought about it.
Yeah, that's why I am.
No damn way, dude. No damn way am I getting stabbed in my car.
You know, every time we talk about like hitchhiker stories like this, it just takes me back to our Ghost of the Tsunami episode. Because that was one of the creepier.
Yeah, and that was one that you actually believed, right? Like that's one that you leaned more towards. Like I believe that these people are seeing these.
Yeah, but I don't believe they're ghosts.
Well, then that's you making a different word up to make yourself more comfortable with the existence of ghosts. Wow, nailed that! What a bar, dude!
No, I mean,
what a great bar that was.
It was, but it doesn't quite work. I'm not trying to get away from saying ghost. Ghosts make no sense to me in the realm of possibilities, but psychic impressions or memories do, or also people being able to pick up on
demons.
Well, that takes me back to the cemetery gate that had been forced
Demons
open.
are real.
I find that one right there is like, dude, you're mixing up stories. That's a demon trying to get one of the souls. The ghost doesn't need to open up the fence. We all know that. They just walk right through it. Demons got rules.
Are the fence iron, perchance?
I don't know.
I don't think ghosts can walk through iron, Christian. I may be mixing up my belief systems. This might be exclusively Supernatural, the show.
See,
I don't know guys, fact check me. Can ghosts get through iron? All right. Iron. Damn, starting to say it like your daughter.
What human?
Wow.
What human made that rule up?
Nobody knows. But what we do know is that we're closing this out on probably one of the most infamous urban legends of all time, and that is, of course,
Candyman.
No.
But
this is
Bloody Mary.
Yeah, more white people. Think more white people. Yeah. Bloody Mary for sure. Was Candyman a white person thing? Not really, right?
I had a black actor.
Well, no.
Or a black.
A black? Christian, come on.
It was the guy that...
It had a black...
Candyman was black.
Yes.
I haven't seen that movie since the 80s.
Did you see? You didn't see the Jordan Peele one?
He made one?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it was him, yeah. I haven't seen it either, but I'm pretty sure it was him that made one.
I'll watch anything Jordan Peele.
I'll peel anything Jordan watch, but it's fine. So anyway, yeah, Bloody Mary, the white person's equivalent. You know white people. Classic us.
Well, I mean, brown people back then couldn't afford mirrors.
That's true. Just a piece of tinfoil. They flattened out every morning.
Tinfoil wasn't around back then. Tinfoil's
How old do you think we're going with this, Christian? Are we going back to the original Bloody Mary, or are we talking about people that played Bloody Mary and could afford tinfoil?
I mean, the original Bloody Mary was a queen.
Well, if you'd let me get into it, Christian, but
okay.
I don't know, maybe the story might have a little bit of that in there.
Sorry.
You didn't think about that, did you?
I didn't think.
That happens. The more you know. And the mind is a terrible thing to waste, Christian. You know this. You more than anyone know this.
I've heard. I saw the commercials on Channel 5 back in the day. For your time.
Familiar with the commercial. Thank you, Christian.
Oh yeah, you were from the Antelope Valley.
I was.
Back then it took 10 years for it to change.
That's true. Still probably playing. Anyway, this one doesn't begin with a quiet road or a shadowy figure in the woods. No, this one starts in the dark. In the dark, maybe in your childhood bathroom with nothing but a candle, a mirror,
And a demon.
and a dare. Close. It was a D word. You stare into the reflection, heart racing, and chant her name. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. I'm not going to say it 3 times just in case. And then,
Bloody Mary.
oh my God, no. There she is behind Christian. Sometimes nothing, but sometimes people swear they see her. A flash of a face, bloodied and hollow-eyed. A scream, a presence. Some say the lights flicker, others run out of the room before they find out what happens next. It's a legend that almost everyone knows, and nearly everyone's tried. But where did it come from? Well, Christian spoiled it earlier, but no, just kidding. Everyone pretty knows it by now. But the roots of the Bloody Mary story stretch deep into folklore, blending superstition, historical tragedy, and cultural fears about mirrors themselves. One of the most common explanations ties the name Bloody Mary to Queen Mary I of England, who ruled from 1553 to 1558. A staunch Catholic, she ordered the execution of hundreds of Protestants during her reign, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary. Some say the vengeful spirit conjured in the mirror is her, forever bound by the blood she spilled. But that theory, while compelling, doesn't account for how the story evolved into a sleepover ritual for middle schoolers. The modern version of Bloody Mary seems to have emerged in the mid-20th century, likely the 60s or 70s, and became widespread by the 80s. Folklorists like Janet Langlaw documented early versions where a girl would perform a ritual in the mirror to see the face of her future husband. Or, if she was destined to die before marriage, the Grim Reaper. The image of Bloody Mary as a ghostly woman in the mirror slowly took over, fueled by word of mouth, schoolyard dares, and growing interest in urban legends. The actual ritual varies depending on who you ask. Some say you have to say her name 3 times. Others insist on 13. God, you got to make me count on 2 hands and then another hand? 2 3/5 of a hand, Christian?
If she shows up, you only have to use your 2 hands and borrow a couple of her fingers.
There you go. She seems like she's the type of gal that might share. Sometimes it must be done at midnight or with candles lit or with your eyes closed and then suddenly opened. But across all versions, there's a single thread, looking into the mirror and daring something supernatural to appear. That act alone, inviting something unknown into your space, has always been a powerful and dangerous idea. And believe it or not, people have reported terrifying experiences during the ritual. I do not. I'd save you some time. In 2004, a woman in Ohio told a local newspaper she tried the Bloody Mary ritual on a dare, only to see a pale face appear behind her in the mirror before she blacked out and woke up on the bathroom floor.
Where was this at again?
This was Ohio.
That was her face. Pale.
Wow. What do you mean, her face? No, just kidding. It's fine. That didn't work. In 2010, a group of high school students in North Carolina filmed themselves performing the ritual. The footage is grainy and shaky, but at one point, a sudden knock echoes from inside the bathroom. And one girl screams, claiming she saw a face in the glass with no eyes. Even stranger are the physical effects some people have claimed after trying it. Nosebleeds, scratches, bruises. Some say they've heard whispers in the dark for days afterward. Psychologists chalk this up to the Caputo Effect, a phenomenon where staring into a mirror in low light can cause your brain to distort your reflection. Facial features seem to melt or disappear. It's a trick of the mind, they say, not a ghost.
Have you had that happen?
Yeah, I've tried that out a bunch of times,
So
too.
have I.
It's always creepy. I'm like, come on, show yourself, me. Show your true self, me. Black eyes. And I go, oh, God. Just kidding. But that doesn't explain the sensations. Oh, yeah. The sounds are why so many people independently describe the same female figure with sunken eyes and blood streaming down her face. Others believe the ritual taps into something older, something darker. In many cultures, mirrors are believed to be portals. Ancient Greeks thought mirrors could reveal the future, but only at great risk. In Jewish traditions, mirrors are covered after a death to prevent spirits from becoming trapped. Chinese mythology also treats mirrors as objects of power, capable of revealing hidden truths or warding off demons. So when you look into a mirror and call for a spirit, who knows what you're actually inviting? Folklorists argue that Bloody Mary became popular because of its simplicity and emotional payoff. It's fear that you can summon on demand. A safe thrill with a deep-rooted connection to cultural taboos. It spreads because it's experiential. It isn't something you read or hear about, it's something you do. And that's what makes it personal. Whether or not you believe in spirits, the moment of tension before that final chant is real. your heart pounds, your hands sweat, and your neighbor continues to drive his fucking motorcycle at 9:36 p.m. And for a second, you wonder what you've invited. Some say Bloody Mary isn't just one spirit, but a reflection of our collective guilt, fears, and fascination with death.
Wow. Okay, so that one right there,
Getting pretty deep.
I think that's like,
You didn't think we were going to take it there, right?
no, normally that's the shit I make fun of for the believers, but the way that was said, bullshit.
Oh. Bullshit. Oh, okay. Maybe she's a twisted mirror image of ourselves.
Sometimes.
Maybe she's real, or maybe she's just waiting for the next person to whisper her name. We did it at the same time. Weird. Now she has to show up. It's fine. Did you ever try Bloody Mary ritual growing up? What happened, or what did you think was going to happen? And what do you think it says about us that we keep coming back to stories like this?
I feel like Bloody Mary wasn't a thing prepubescent or middle school boys did back in my day.
Oh, yeah? They waited till the 90s?
I just think that's more modern, in general, or more common with,
Shots fired. Okay.
with boys nowadays than it was back then. And I don't know why. Maybe that's just because I was a boy and I just
Didn't do it.
Yeah.
And now you feel left out. So you're attacking those that did?
I mean, why would I summon a monster at that point in my life where I may or may not have believed monsters came in other forms than our human form?
Honestly, you don't even have to summon a monster. There's one right outside.
Let it go.
He's right outside.
Scott, we're focused on this show. Focus on the show.
Motorcycles are like the trigger for me. I know, I hate
but
people
now
that just rev motorcycle engines.
Okay, you said that.
I did.
You said.
I need to go yell at him, Christian.
No,
I need to go yell at him.
No.
I need to go beat his ass up.
You need to focus.
You take his pussy ass, a little vest on with a little skull on it, probably. Says some gay shit on the back. I gotta go beat his ass, all right? That's the way it works, dude.
Are you using the South Park reference for...
Oh, well, kind of, but no. At the same time, they were 100% right, dude. Like, I know people that own motorcycles that aren't assholes, but the people that just sit there and rev it and think they're hot shit, I'm sorry. Go die, dude. Plain and simple, go die.
All right, I'm done. Let's move on. I'm bored with this. I'm bored.
That was the end of the episode.
No, that cannot be the end of the episode.
That was.
You didn't even let me talk about fucking Bloody Mary.
Well, we all know Bloody Mary isn't real, right? We've talked about at points
other than the original Mary that
that one might have been
put
real.
Her sister in prison.
She may have been real. That one may have been real.
She was pretty real. She put Queen Elizabeth I in jail, basically.
Yeah, she might have been real.
In the Tower of London.
I'll give you a maybe on that.
But one of the fascinating things now about that whole Bloody Mary thing is I think the living the experience does make a difference. Like how I was saying that earlier about the hitchhiker one, that could happen to any of us. This is something any of us could do. And generally, when it's like the Ouija board. When you get a group of people together and they're
like, let's do some dumb shit. Yeah.
The tension builds up. So even if nothing is going on, you may have a terrifying experience because the way we can build up. Now, the part looking into the mirror and maybe seeing your true self, that's not real because
it's called self-reflection, Christian.
That's not how you
Some people do it. All right?
Yeah, but anybody that sees like a hollow-eyed, bloody woman when they look in the mirror is seeing an image projected by their subconscious, more than likely. And if your subconscious listens to you sometimes or understands that you're playing a scary game and it's more fun if you're a little terrified, it might help you project that image up there. And like you said, or like you mentioned in the story, we will see things if we kind of like close our eyes a little bit in a dark bathroom and look in a mirror. And if you open up the medicine cabinet, you can see the multiverse. Very obvious.
There's sometimes if I'm walking into the bathroom, I'll swear that there's like just a flash of an image that I see. And it could be someone sitting in the bathtub. It could be, but it's always just like a frame, like one frame of an entire second clip.
That's your subconscious scanning the environment.
It also happens for you while you're driving. Does that ever happen to you? Like sometimes, and I always wonder, I'm like, is it someone there? Or is it just that one split second, but it looks like someone's sitting in the back seat with me until I look up and then I'm like, oh, they're gone.
There's the song about that. It's called Just Your Imagination. I mean, we see all kinds of things like that. If we were really paying attention, which we aren't most of the time because we're focused on whatever we're thinking about or whatever we're going to do, there's probably tons of flashes like that like I see flashes of things. I'm like, whoa, that was weird. but
Yeah.
it's just my mind.
But you say that to comfort yourself, though, no?
No,
You have no definitive proof that it was just your mind. You don't know what's out there beyond what we see or what we hear.
It's just your mind. I kind of know, not like a scientist level, no, but I know that our mind is not a perfect thing sometimes, especially with the stuff we feed into it, makes it a little bit more convoluted or chaotic. So I could see that happening. Now, somebody that sees things and experiences things can shoot me down on that because of what they've experienced. Is it really there? Well, they say it is, and I say it's not. So for now, we're stuck just being in that spot where we can't prove it one way or another. But an experience to the experiencer isn't really something they feel they have to explain, you know what I mean, or prove, because they felt it, regardless of whether it was there or not. That was kind of long-winded. I don't know if it made sense, but I think you guys know where I was going. Scott's looking a little lost over there, but
No, I think we need to end it there. That was a good place to end it, because not only was that very wise, but also I need to go beat my neighbor's ass.
no, you don't. You just need to go to bed.
I honestly need to go beat my neighbor's ass.
No, you have to be the father to my grandson. Don't be doing stupid stuff.
Why are you assuming I'm going to die, Christian? Like, I could throw hands, dude. I may not look like it. Maybe I haven't done it in quite some time, but I could definitely fuck some people up.
Yeah, but somebody could get a lucky shot in, and that's it.
No, someone could get an actual lucky shot in when he pulls a gun. This is Alaska. Almost 100% guarantee the second I say, hey, fuck you, dude, he pulls out a gun and just shoots me in the head. And then there's no podcast next week. Are you guys happy? Huh? But this dude really has pissed me off. Doesn't it feel a little selfish?
It is selfish, but
it's 10 p.m.
Here's the thing.
You live in a neighborhood.
It's totally selfish. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to ignore it as
Can I at
much
least
as I can.
call the cops or something? Can I do something to fuck with this guy's night?
No.
Can I do anything? Can I throw eggs at him
I
from a
think the
distance?
lesson here is you got to let these things go, as annoying as they are.
Is that another freaking Disney reference, dude?
No.
I ain't doing no Frozen shit, all right? I'm a man.
Oh, shit. I guess it could have been.
Yeah, it could have been, Christian.
No,
You pulled it off.
when I use Let It Go,
I just want you to know all I do is hear the song.
I know, but if I pick on people with that song, they would have had to do what you just did with the motorcycle guy for like 5 more minutes before I actually get to the point where I start playing that song.
Yeah.
I used to do that when I was on the slope with the housekeepers when they'd come in, and it's fine. I let them complain about stuff because it helps.
Yeah.
But if they kept going, or if they came back later in the day and were going again, I would just reach over to my music, type in Let It Go, play it without ever missing a beat, just talking to them. And about halfway through, they realize what song's playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to let it go.
It's time.
Yeah.
Whatever. I know there's someone out there that relates to me.
No, I relate.
Some way or another.
Part of it is I have a really good box that I can put stuff in my head. That helps me. So that's not normal for everybody. It's definitely, you're on the opposite end of that than I am.
Yeah, I heard something in there, but yeah.
But I just, it's not worth it to me.
I know it like
Plus it's
but it's also an OCD thing for me.
I know, but you're also in
a-
Alaska and it's summer.
So
It's ridiculous sometimes in the summer in Alaska. I'm like, I have where I live. You think that's bad?
yes.
I have like snow machines or 4-wheelers flying by right next to my house. And sometimes that scares the shit out of me because it's just quiet. And all of a sudden this really loud sound is like 100 feet from my window.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. And then
we get that too, though.
I know, but then I hear them go from where I'm at all the way up to where that church is.
Yeah.
And that's when they turn and I start losing the sound there. So it's ridiculous, but also it's an Alaska thing.
But it feels like for me, it just feels like common, like the basic human decency is if you live around people, you are not like, why are you revving your engine, bro? How small your dick gotta be that you gotta wake up everyone you've ever known?
Expecting people to have common decency sounds kind of woke to me.
I know. I think of my upbringing. If I did you would be at my wake right now. If my mom heard that I was revving my engine down the street like an asshole.
I feel like sometimes you forget people weren't raised like you.
Yeah, and look, do I have the perfect mother? Yes. Okay. Is she Mary Poppins in the flesh? Absolutely.
I just think that's one of those things where like I look at some things like I think it's obvious the way I talk to people or the way I interact with people. It's really hard for me to be aggressive on any level. And some of that, or like my cussing, like I'll cuss, but not on the level of most people I'm around.
Yeah.
And that's from my mom. We're all raised differently, and some people have a different view on what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder, especially in Alaska, if it's because back in the day it didn't matter because nobody lived around here. You know, and that wasn't that long ago. Like, I hear how quickly this area where we're at grew. And I can tell by the way the traffic is because nobody built streets that were made for this many people in this area.
All I'm saying, though, is if he is someone that owns a motorcycle and he's someone that owns eyeballs that work, because clearly he is, because he owns a motorcycle, then you know it's disrespectful. And when something is disrespectful to me, I have this weird thing where I'm like, nope, justice. Justice now. Guys, that's the show.
Hey, Mr. Motorcycle Man, rev your engine one more time, and I'll shove you in a garbage can. It's 9:30 on a Thursday night. Instead of waking all your neighbors, why don't you just